truly hope I'm not the only person that doesn't know the lyrics of Umbrella beyond some of the chorus because I can't even sing the chorus correctly. It's just when we get to the Ellas that I can sort of do something. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe it's you too. Oh, all right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday for August 9th, 2024. And so glad that we can connect here and join in if you're taking your time to let me be part of your morning or whenever you do eventually watch this or listen to this. If you are listening to this on our podcast channel, you can watch video of my sleepy face on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you can listen to the audio over on our podcast channel at faithandfandom.podbean.com. Uh, I'm all packed up and ready to go for a Comic-Con this morning, so gonna keep it moderately brief because I've got a 5 hour and some change drive ahead of me. Um, but do want to take a moment just to pop in, say hi to all of y'all uh that are on the chat for the morning, and to just see how the world is and take a brief moment to good morning, Tristan, to take a brief moment to do a temperature check on the world and how things are going with it. So let us jump right into this. Just looking up some stuff real quick. All right. So popping off right off the top, congratulations to Mark Snell. If you are a baseball person and you know who that is, Mark Snell has been playing for over 9 years on professional baseball and has over 200 career starts, and finally just pitched his first no-hitter game, which is a big deal. And congratulations to him. There are plenty of pitchers who never do that, and that's a pretty nice feather in your cap there. Uh, if you are a wrestling fan and this is something that interests you, Michael Cole has signed his contract to renew his time with the WWE, but that also comes with the caveat that he will be transitioning over to Friday Night SmackDown beginning September 1st. So if that matters to you, if that's a thing that you care about, Michael Cole has been doing wrestling commentary since I was a child. And I always appreciated his reality is he's a great journalist, but he you don't get that kind of love for being a wrestling person, but he will be heading over to SmackDown beginning September 1st. An animated series of The Evil Dead is in the works, with Bruce Campbell returning as Ash to voice his character. Evil Dead has been one of those properties that existed before I was born and has continued to be reinvented and has continued to have different versions of itself, from a Broadway musical to video games to books to comics to a live action TV series to reboots. And if you've ever read or saw how Evil Dead struggled to exist in the first place, like how horrifying the production of the Evil Dead movie was, um, just on terms of the fact that it exists and is still going, is pretty fantastic and miraculous in itself with these things. Lauryn Hill and the Fugees uh, were participating in a world tour that was supposed to begin in the past week or so, and they just quietly canceled the entire tour like within 2 days before its first start. I'm sorry, 3 days before it started, because they weren't happy with the ticket sales and things like that. Now, personally, I didn't know the Fugees and Lauryn Hill were touring until I heard they were canceling. So there might be marketing, it might be some different things, but they have canceled their tour. Um, which I don't know that I would go see a Fugees concert personally, but I do highly respect the Fugees, and I think Lauryn Hill is one of the greatest lyricists, specifically one of the greatest female lyricists, but she'd be in contention for anything in those terms. But I don't know. It's been a minute. The 90s sitcom A Different World is getting a Netflix spinoff in production now. So they're spinning off of the 90s sitcom A Different World. Something new is coming. There is a really, really dope trailer for Batman Arkham Shadow, a video game that is about to release. And the trailer looks fantastic. It looks, minus the fact that it's got Ratcatcher as its main villain, it looks fantastic. The problem comes, and you should steel yourself before you see the trailer, is that this is only for VR systems, so like Oculus. So prepare your heart before you watch this trailer that you're probably not going to play this game, but it does look fantastic. On the notion of Batman, there is a new animated series which dropped last week called Batman the Caped Crusader, and it is a 10 episode arc on uh, Amazon Prime. It is considered to be the spiritual precursor to Batman the Animated Series. Also features Bruce Timm, who created Batman the Animated Series, co-created Batman the Animated Series, running it. Uh, you will find that the series, after watching it, you'll find that the series does offer a lot in terms of diversifying the characters, changing up some of the ethnicities. It does deepen backstories and add a little fleshed out things to the backstories of a lot of the characters, including things of like a gender swapped penguin, some racially ethnically swapped characters as well. But for the most part, it really does feel like, this is part of the it's close to Batman the Animated Series. Um, the one thing I just did want to point out is uh they gave, even though this is like a year one type scenario, this is very much Batman day one. Um yeah, I watched all 10 episodes just because I've been home a lot with hurricane stuff this week. Um and what I'll say is this: there's a really neat, it's not a spoiler, but there's a really neat, not fan service either. I don't know the word. There's a neat setup in episode 8. Episode 8 features a group of children, and like they slowly give us, because this is a day one Batman day one series, they give us a picture of the children versions of Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Stephanie Brown, and Cassie Kelly. So they give us four of the Robins as like 7 year olds functioning together. But they're just kind of background characters to the story. But I was like, is that a little Jason Todd? That's a little Jason Todd. Um, but they just kind of slowly drop them. At first you meet a kid named Dickie, and you're just like, whatever. Yeah, that's a common name. Um, but then the next kid you meet is Jason. Then the next one is Stephanie. You're like, oh, I see what y'all are doing. That's cute. So keep an eye out and for that in episode 8 of the series. On Bluey crime news, because Bluey crime needs its own news category. Um, there was a coin that was to be released, and Tristan, maybe you can help me out if you have information on this. There was a coin that was supposed to be released in Australia, a golden coin that featured Bluey, playing keepy uppy with a balloon. Um, and the all the coins were stolen from a warehouse in Sydney. And the dude, there was over $600,000 worth of the coins, and they were stolen. And then once they were stolen, they were immediately being sold online. So a task force was put together to bring down the thief of the bluey coins. And they got the guy, but the task force, I'm sorry, not task force, it was called Strike Force Bandit. They literally named the Strike Force after Bluey's dad. Like the dad was coming to save Bluey. And I think that's freaking precious. So Strike Force Bandit officially took down the Bluey thief. News 11. That's great. Uh Rapper Killer Mike, rapper, political advocate, Atlanta businessman Killer Mike, uh recently hopped back into mainstream culture last year after winning three Grammy Awards for best hip hop album, etc. Uh, he dropped a follow up album um, uh, this past week. Dude, look up Strike Force Bandit, Tristan. I mean this is in your neighborhood, but I get that it's not like a popular story, but I just think that's hilarious. Um, but Killer Mike dropped a second album to follow up off the success of his previous album, and it has it's called Music for Saints and Sinners, and definitely has spiritual over and undertones, but also is real grimy. So be aware. But Killer Mike is also putting a public statement out that he has the goal to do a track with Eminem and Run the Jewels. So Eminem is, or Killer Mike has put out the verbal post gauntlet that he wants to work with Eminem and Run the Jewels, which would be pretty dope for the hip hop world if you're a fan of it. Killer Mike's one of his most famous things is the Outkast song "The Whole World." The whole world loves it when you don't fit. Yeah, that he did that track with Outkast. And I think something with him Eminem at this stage in the game would pretty dope. Borderlands has dropped the movie in his hit theaters, and I don't know where it's currently sitting, but at the time of me taking these notes, it was sitting at a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. And every critic I've seen review it has taken a large poo-poos on the film. I've not seen it. I don't plan to see it. I literally, the minute I heard Kevin Hart was in a Borderlands movie, I'm like, I'm out. Not because I don't like Kevin Hart. It's just I know that this is not like a video game focused movie per se, if Kevin Hart's the main character of a Borderlands movie. Uh, but if you've got some commentary on it, if you've seen it, if you've enjoyed it, let me know. But so far, this is not looking real good for them in terms of response and box office. And in fact, the chairman of the studio literally put out a statement that said, please give the movie a chance. So I've heard that the performances of Jack Black uh, and Jamie Lee Curtis were good. But again, Borderlands is out there if you want to check it. But then here's the thing. I also am not a huge fan of the Borderlands franchise. Not that I don't like it. I just don't like run and gun shooters. Um, I'm a little bit more story centric, and while there is a story to those, um, I find them exhaustive. So there's that. House of Dragon ended with its or season finale recently. For season two, they've announced that the show will be a 4 season story, so there's 2 more seasons to come. But while that is coming, the first trailer for the next Game of Thrones prequel series um has dropped, It's called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and yeah, that is coming out. So if you are just enjoying living in the world of Game of Thrones, there you've got a whole new series dropping. Also, the final season of Umbrella Academy has dropped, and it has pretty good reviews. So if you are a fan of the Umbrella Academy journey, you've got the last season to look forward to. Um, and I will say this, there's always the conversation of books being better than movies and stuff like this. What they've done with the show is leaps and bounds better than what was done with the comic. The comic reads like a fever dream, like you're hopped upon cold medicine and half asleep and have a high temperature. The show kind of feels like that too, but it's definitely put together better. So if you enjoyed the Umbrella Academy or you're just interested in watching it now that it's all out, it is available. And on that note, because the this is, I want to make sure I can speak to this clearly. Uh, Daisy Ridley has announced that she has was diagnosed with Graves' disease in 2023. She thought initially that all the symptoms she was experiencing was just exhaustion from the shoot. But if you're not aware, it's an autoimmune disorder that causes the thyroid gland to produce too much thyroid hormone resulting in hyperthyroidism. It's a chronic condition. It can affect a lot of parts like your heart, eyes, skin, bones, and liver. And I'm absolutely reading that because I didn't know what Graves' disease was. So full disclosure. But Daisy Ridley does have Graves' disease, and that's going to be affecting her future and her career and her life and the quality of her life. So just something to be aware of, to consider if you're a praying person. It's something to pray for because nobody wants to hear that they've got something that's chronic and they're going to have to live with for the rest of their life. Uh, in the world of ever expanding popcorn buckets that have no need but just keep going on, the upcoming Beetlejuice sequel has revealed its sandworm bucket, and it is much more user friendly than the Dune sandworm bucket. So I do think it's funny that they use the sandworm bucket, again, harking back to the hideous monstrosity that was and is the Dune popcorn bucket. But yeah, it's a pretty cool looking popcorn bucket. Netflix has appeared to suffer major breaches in their own security, and large amounts of their content is leaking online, specifically in the animated division. There are two full episodes of Arcane that have been leaked to the internet for season two, which is a big deal because if you enjoyed Arcane season one, you've been waiting around for years at this point. The entire series of the Netflix's new Terminator anime, Terminator Zero, has leaked, and I don't rock with leaks. I don't rock with copyright infringed materials per se. Um, but just saying that this is out there, but you should be cautious because it's it's against the law, uh, and probably not going to go well for you. Uh, and it hurts the end game if you enjoy quality content being made. But Netflix has been breached and they got robbed, which means you probably got robbed in some capacity too. But that's a whole nother story. Uh, the and also Netflix series Stranger Things has had a stage play that has gotten critical reviews, or great critical reviews across the board. It's called The First Shadow, Stranger Things, The First Shadow, and it's been in England and touring the UK uh to great reviews for a while now, and it's coming to America in 2025. So you can look forward to that, but it's a pretty much a visual marvel from what I'm hearing, and it'll be something fun to see. After 10 full years of uh storytelling. The final chapter of My Hero Academia has been written and has been published. If you aren't aware, the My Hero stories come on a pretty consistent basis through magazines like Shonen Jump and individual chapter formats before they come to graphic novels. So the final chapter has been written and has been published in, individual issue. The 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 final graphic novel version of this will arrive in 2025 February, with volume 40 of the My Hero Academia graphic novel. So the story is out there if you are up to date and you want to fish it out, but there are currently 38 graphic novels released for the My Hero Academia graphic novel mangas, and there 39 drops in October, 40 drops in February. So if you are looking forward to finishing out the story in print, you are going to have those options there, and that is coming soon. Uh, Bungie recently laid off 220 employees, and it's been revealed through this that they currently aren't working on Destiny 3, that they're still planning just to add some additions to Destiny 2. Y'all, I've got children that weren't born when Destiny started, and we're still on Destiny 2 adding on stuff. I get it, but I think a Destiny 3 would be a smart move. But I get it, but I don't think you're going there if you keep laying people off. Because I took the final shape that just dropped as my final purchase. So we're gonna see how that goes. Shogun 2 got an update that because one of the things that Shogun did so well is because they adapted the original novel from 1975. And when they did that, it had such good source material that it made it great storytelling. They told the whole story in one season, and so Shogun 2 season 2 is going to be an original story, but they're going to try and keep it in the respect and in the vein of the original book. But as we've seen through things like Game of Thrones and stuff, that doesn't always end well, but that is the plan as it's coming. Three sold out Eras Tour performances for Taylor Swift in Austria have been canceled due to terrorist threats. There was a perceived bomb threat that was planned for the event to take out a whole stadium of Eras Tour attendees. So all three concerts have been uh canceled. It's roughly 150,000 people plus the however many people that would attend on the outside are, have lost their ability to go to this show. And I know there's some sadness with that. Justin Timberlake has officially had his license suspended, um, after he was rearranged through virtual court. Um, 2 full months after his arrest for DUI, his license has now been officially suspended, and we'll be revisiting that process in the near future of what comes next. Uh, During the Olympics, there was a touching moment where Rebecca Andrade from Brazil won the gold, and Simone Biles and Jordan Childs. I'm gonna say that maybe that's right, wrong, whatever. Simone Biles and Jordan Childs took a moment in second and third place to actually bow before the Rebecca Andrade as she won, to hype her up. And you know, I think that's a nice moment to actually be able to elevate somebody that gets to win on that capacity. And I think it's a solid rejoice with those who rejoice moments, and was a good look. And other Olympic uh kind of sweet news, Alice Finot, if I'm saying that correctly, who won, she broke the European record for the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Um and she won big, and she proposed to her fiance after winning. So there's a touching moment. You can find that online. But yeah, she proposed to her fiance as soon as she won. Uh, Two astronauts went up in space in June, which was supposed to be for 8 days, and they are currently stuck there. And it may be February 2025. before they can get brought back down. So My Hero Academia will be available in print before they can make it, which is a scary thing to think you're going to be stuck up there that long. They are currently talking with SpaceX about sending one of their vehicles, ships, whatever, up to try and rescue them, and conversations are being had about that now. But currently, based on what the sources that are available, it's Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, and they've been trapped on the International Space Station. Um, and yeah, they're talking with SpaceX about sending a crew up in September. But it still wouldn't bring the crew home till months later. So it's a it's a thing. Russian chess champion Amina Abakarova was caught on CCTV trying to poison her rival. She was smearing mercury on her opponent's chess pieces so that she would get mercury poisoning when she played her. Harsh. Just real harsh. If you're a fan of Baldur's Gate 3, Asterion and Asterion. Yeah, Asterion. Am I saying his name wrong? Either way. Um, I always get his name poorly done. Asterion and Karlach are going to be joining Magic the Gathering in the upcoming Secret Lair expansion. So if you are Magic the Gathering players and you get a Karlach Fury of uh Avernus, shoot me that card and I'll have a crisp high five and a hearty thank you waiting. Netflix started their password crackdown a little while back, and they're actually saying that they have turned a profit uh because they did their password crackdown. Dude, chess is a dangerous game. And if you listen, if somebody is smart enough to try and like beat you in a professional chess setting, they're smart enough to poison you. Just you can't with people, dude. Um that's the real Queen's Gambit. Uh Netflix did well with their password crackdown. So Disney has already stated that they're coming next, and they will begin their Disney Plus password crackdown beginning September 2024. So you got about 3 weeks and some change before Disney comes for your head. Uh, Warner Brothers has announced that in a run up to preview, whatever, for the upcoming Penguin series on HBO Max starring Colin Farrell, which follows the Penguins' rise to power after the events of the Batman. Uh, that the Batman is going to get re-released in theaters on August 28th, along with a sneak preview of the Penguin. I am personally very excited for the Penguin, and honestly, just because Colin Farrell's performance in that movie was astonishing, knowing who's under all that makeup and all that prosthetics. And I love a good gritty Gotham crime drama. So looking forward to this a lot. There was a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that occurred off of southern Japan on Thursday. Uh, so that's a hefty earthquake, and it occurred here in Japan, and it's heightening risks of what people might potentially call a mega quake. Uh, so if you're in a quake prone region, if y'all know me personally, I haven't put anything on Faith and Fandom, but we have spent the whole past week uh in dread slash preparation for hurricane slash tropical storm Debbie. My region of North Carolina floods very heavily. And since 2016, our town's been completely flooded over twice. Like my church building had 4 feet of water. I had to empty my life savings, which wasn't much, to repair the damage to my home for the last go round. And we were spent the whole week in moderate terror slash trying to have a strong, faithful face of potential damage. Again, we're in hurricane season, and that's just the thing. It's part of the rodeo. But we had uh a close call there, and there is flooding in my area, but much less significant. But natural disasters wreck people, and my whole community has strong PTSD when it comes to floods and hurricanes and things of that nature. So my heart goes out to the earthquake survivors and just kind of the terror that comes with that. Elon Musk claims that he's suing companies that boycott Twitter. Unilever and Mars have boycotted advertising on X, and it's cost him billions of dollars in revenue, he states, and so he's suing them for not using them. I don't know that that's functional, but he's planning to do that. Uh, Banksy, the uh, mysterious spray paint artist, uh, has been on a animal kick and dropping paintings across the UK over the last week, and one of like a wolf. There and to my from my understanding, he's doing something numerically. He dropped a single wolf, two elephants touching trunks, three monkeys swinging on a bridge in London. And apparently this might be a daily count up, almost like a partridge in a pear tree situation. But sadly, the first one that he did has already been stolen because he put it on a satellite dish and somebody stole it as soon as they found out it was a Banksy. Um, yeah, I was about to say people have been stealing them. So that's sad, but I also like get it. If they're rare paintings of something we get to see in our own lifetime, but stealing them is no bueno. It is not the best route. There has been, again, and stuff that we don't really cover that's not been in American news that I've seen at all. Um, BBC, not BBC, England. Just because you make Doctor Who doesn't make you BBC. Uh, England has been struggling with riots over racial disorder. I feel like there's this feeling in America that, we have this general perception that the UK is beyond racism because we're so bad at it. But apparently not. Uh, there have been riots going on and a lot of aggressive things happening in terms of that. And there's a man who's been charged. He's a 28-year-old man who's been charged with stirring up racism online. Um, hey, Kirk. Yeah, I try and always do Fridays moderately early, but I have a con to head to this morning, so it's going to be an earlier start. I've got a 5-hour drive as soon as I finish this. I'm literally gonna put my mic and camera in the car and drive to 5 hours away. Um, but yeah, there's a dude was literally charged for stirring up racism online as part of the riots. And I'm telling you this, if you charged every American that stirred up racism online, the internet would be a lot quieter. A lot quieter. Um, Over 400 people have been arrested for the rioting process since the whole riots began. There's including things of statements like feeling unsafe because of other people's skin color are things that are happening with that. So it's pretty yeah. Dude, if life wasn't so bonkers, it would be earlier anyway. But it gets real hard. I'm still pretty stoked that I've kept this going every Friday this year. Um, like and every time I've got something scheduled, I'm like, is this the Friday I don't do it? But I'm gonna keep trying to I'm gonna try and make it through the whole year once a week on Fridays. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, so rioting in the UK over racism was not on my bingo card for the year. But that being said, that's about all the news that I've got for this. And just want to say thank y'all for all of you who take the time to pray for me, to pray for Faith and Fandom. Also in news that's newsy, my oldest daughter moves out today. She's 16 and she got into a school for math and science, and it's like 2.5 hours away. And she's basically going to Muggle Hogwarts or the Blue Sun Academy, and she's going to get turned into an assassin. Either way, my oldest daughter moves out today, and real talk, I'm not cool. I'm not okay. Um, but I don't have much I can do about it because she's smart and awesome, and I can't be mad at that. But it's also super sad because I thought I had her for 2 more years, and I'm going to be real pouty about it privately for a long time. So that's news as well. And if you've been a part of, thanks, I appreciate that, Steven. Um, if you're, that means I'm going to be doing a little bit more traveling in that direction. Um, but I said my goodbye to her last night because I wasn't going to wake her up this morning before I left, and it was just one of those things. So that's happening. Want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for being as amazing as you are and for just being as encouraging you are. And uh, if you're on the oh, it is cool, Kirk, and I am 1,000% devastated. I've spent the better part of the last 6 months between I'm having lots of feelings. And it's not all been positive because there were some negatives associated with the situation. Um, yeah. Well, dude, I had all these things planned for what was going to happen for the next 2 years. So again, it's a thing. Uh, yeah, it's a thing. But as I moderately keep my composure, uh, oh, also June and the Lions releasing a deluxe version of their album on Grief that had additional tracks on September 5th, I believe, as I'm thinking about all the grief in my heart. I want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters, and if you are part of the um the flipper level of our Patreon or the podcasty level, you should have a package in the mail. I mailed them out before we were in full hurricane panic mode. But just want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Uh, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, which by the way, I need to mail you a new book too, Jeff. Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn. Also be praying for Alicia's dad. Yes, Alicia's dad got hurt at GalaxyCon and is unable to work right now. And so just pray for their family. And I think you know this isn't me trying to pander or push anything on you. They're also doing a GoFundMe for some of his medical bills and stuff while he's getting healed up. Um, Candace Davis, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, who is filling in for Chris on the Pull List podcast for a few weeks. And first episode of the Pull List podcast for this season just dropped. So if you're a fan of the Pull List, you can go check that out. John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. And Rebecca Godlove is actually writing her own original fantasy novel. So I'm looking forward to reading that and kind of promoting that and seeing where that goes. And just a verse I want to share with you, Matthew, sorry, Matthew 9:36, and it's just a verse that uh is always good for my heart. It says, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And I just want to encourage you with the people in your life that might look frustratingly annoying to you or hard in your life to deal with. Just remember that, at our worst and our most annoying, Jesus looks at us with compassion because he knows how lost and overwhelmed and overstimulated and over anxious we are. And he looks at us with compassion. And I would just encourage you, look at each other with eyes of compassion because, um, yeah. Oh, dude, I can't wait. Bring me on Rushmore. Let's go. Uh, like bring me on Rushmore for other things other than wrestling too. I'm here for it. I'm down. Um, but yeah. That being said, I'm gonna head out because I've got 5 hours of travel to knock out. And I hope y'all have a great weekend. Be safe, and I love you. I appreciate you. Tristan, thank you. God bless you too. I'm gonna do my best to be safe, and I hope y'all have a great day, and I hope to see you at a con soon.